It was Military Appreciation Day here at Farrington Stadium for the ASU Invitational. If you were sitting in, well, these very seats, you would have witnessed a few things. The first being 2 Sun Devil wins. They beat Nebraska and Lehigh. Then, you would have noticed Kendra Hackbarth hit not 1, but 2 leadoff home runs. ASU opens their second tournament of the season 2-0 after beating Louisville in game number 1 3-0, and then moving on to game number 2 where they had to take on a top 10 team in Kentucky. They upset Kentucky with a score of 3-2. The Sun Devils had a great weekend here at the Sun Devil Classic. They went 4-1, including their final game on Sunday when they beat Maryland 16-2 in a tale of really 2 halves. In the first portion of the game, from the first and the second inning, they scored 5 runs, 2 and 3 respectively, by drawing walks, getting base hits with runner in scoring position, and staying patient at the plate. Then, in the third inning, Alina Torres hits her 8th home run of the season and opens the long ball floodgate. 7. That number has a lot of meaning for this ASU men's basketball team. They've won 7 games in a row, in Pac-12 play might I add, after sweeping the Oregon schools this past weekend. They have now quickly gone from potentially living up to their preseason poll prediction of finishing in 6th place to now owning sole possession of 1st place for the first time this late into February in program history. They've been in the former Pac-10, now Pac-12 conference for 42 years and have never won a conference title. Now, with an unbeaten starting lineup with Mickey Mitchell Two Shoes in it, who, yes, doesn't put up box score stats, but takes on the most punishing defensive assignments on a nightly basis and provides a much-needed toughness to this unit, and a JUCO transfer in Alonzo Verge off the bench, who can pull in Olympics Kobe and tell everyone to get out the way to get a bucket at any time in crucial situations. This team sits atop the Pac-12 as they now control their own destiny the rest of the way. 7. They haven't won 7 games in a row in conference play since 1981. Some important events in 1981 were MTV launching on cable television, Ronald Reagan coming into office as president, and ASU was led by Byron Scott, who went on to play in the NBA for 14 seasons and has coached multiple NBA franchises. And just for the sake of it, ASU's average in-state tuition was $350 in 1981. Today, it's over $10,000 for in-state students. Do with that what you must. There is an argument to be made that this team peaked too early, but I say they figured out their identity just in time. Their first 3 big wins of the season against Georgia, Oregon State, and Arizona were all followed by disappointing losses. That changed this week when they followed up their 77-72 victory over number 14 ranked Oregon by digging deep and beating Oregon State 74-73 with a comfort behind victory when energy was low. With 4 games remaining, this team will look to turn the number 7 into an 8, then a 9, then a 10, then an 11, and maybe, just maybe, winning a Pac-12 title will be the first milestone of the season for the Sun Devils.
Now joining us at the desk is WCSN softball reporter Jordan Spurgeon. Jordan, what inconsistencies have you seen from the Sun Devils that they need to clean up before they get into Pac-12 play?
Well, Jacob, inconsistencies could be a strong word. Like we said earlier, this team is 12-5. The one thing I've noticed with this Sun Devil softball team, though, they rely a lot on the long ball, so they're not hitting a lot of doubles, and when they get runners in scoring position on 2nd and 3rd, they're really having a tough time being able to get those little base hits, those ground balls through the 5-6 hole, the 3-4 hole, in order to bring in more runs, especially when they're trailing against tougher competition come Pac-12 play. That could really come back to haunt them, so they're going to want to continue to work on the small ball game a little bit in order to have continued success.
We just saw how great of a start freshman Alina Torres has had through 3 weeks. Is this something that we can continue to expect from her moving forward?
Well, in baseball and softball, there's a saying, hitters can hit. It doesn't matter what level they are at. So she hit over 600 in high school, 653 as a senior, never hit below 500 in her 4 years in varsity in high school. This season, she's hitting .393 with 7 home runs. She's knocked in 20 RBIs, all those leading the Sun Devils this season. And this is just the tip of the iceberg for her. I think she's going to continue to get better. I'm not saying she's going to hit .393 every single year in college, but she's going to continue to hit more doubles. She's going to walk a little bit more, strike out a little bit less. And I think that Alina Torres, we're just seeing the start here for her in her Sun Devil career. Ciela Meza was nearly perfect in the season opener against Portland State until she gave up a hit in the top of the 5th. Well, she made up for that one hitter the only way she knew how, by tossing a no-no on Sunday night against Seattle, where she dominated with 14 strikeouts. The Long Beach State transfer, now second-year Sun Devil, has her 3rd career collegiate no-hitter and her 1st as a Sun Devil. It was a successful leap day for ASU football in their first day of full pads in practice. A couple players on offense that stood out were freshman running back Damontum Treanum, who was really tough for the ASU defense to bring down despite all the success they had tackling other players on the ASU offensive squad. And then, of course, quarterback Jaden Daniels looked really sharp in practice today. Only his third practice. He missed the first practice on Monday. And now here, full pads, leap day, extra day of February. ASU football takes advantage of that extra day. They will look to continue to bring the same energy out into March. A lot of fans were out here. The team is ready to go, and spring football is well underway. Jordan Spurgeon here with Sarah Abbott and Valentina Martinez for WCSN. We're here at Para Club in Tempe, Arizona for beach volleyball for their maroon and gold scrimmage. Sarah, just to break down what beach volleyball is, I know it's a growing program here in Arizona. Can you explain what it is like on the sand for these players out here for beach volleyball?
So when you play beach volleyball, you have to rely so much on communication between yourself and your partner, way more than you would necessarily in indoor volleyball. It's a lot more about being strategic with your shots and finding those open spots on the sand.
Now, Valentina, sort of narrowing it down to Sun Devil volleyball specifically, who are some of the duos that we should be looking out for here in the 2020 season?
A duo to definitely look out for is Samantha Plaster and Kaylin Carballo. They're just such a great complement to each other, and you need that kind of chemistry. One's a really great blocker, the other's a great defensive player, and that's what makes them so strong. So definitely look out for Caitlin and Samantha this season.
You heard it here first. Caitlin and Samantha, look out for them this season. We're having fun out here at Para Club. They got the music going. It's really a great time. You're definitely going to want to come check it out. Sarah, just before we wrap it up here, can you explain what the environment's like once we get into actual gameplay starting next week?
There's a lot of energy that is involved in sand volleyball, and everyone here is really relaxed and just having fun, and that's what makes beach volleyball such a unique sport, is the energy around it and the fun that people have.
Be sure to check out beach volleyball. I'm Jordan Spurgeon for Sarah Abbott and Valentina Martinez, reporting from Tempe at Para Club, Cronkite Sports. The Sun Devil beach volleyball team began their season 2-0 with wins over San Francisco and Boise State. They won 4-1 and 5-0 respectively.
We got better over the weekend. First match was a little rough, I think just nerves and being the first match of the season, and then just a couple of young kids getting out there for the first time. But I think second match was a lot better for us.
The number 19 ranked Sun Devil beach volleyball team is heading to California this weekend to open up Pac-12 play. They will be taking on number 20 Stanford and number 11 Cal.
We just need to come out hard and play like we practice, because we are all very competitive during practice. So as long as we do that, I think it'll turn out well. It's going to be a really good competition. I'm excited to go against these Pac-12 teams, because I always just get more competitive playing against teams in the Pac, and I'm really excited. I think we can pull off wins, and I feel like if we do get these wins this weekend, it'll help us in the rankings a lot, and I'm really excited.
Caitlin Carballo and Samantha Plaster are the leading duo for the Beach Devils. They had to face tough competition in week 1 as they were pushed to 3 sets in both matches. They both believe this will help them in California this weekend.
It's honestly, I would hate to say it's more fun going to 3, because it's a lot more fun and winning in 2. But those 3-set matches is basically what you practice for, like under pressure and stuff, especially when everyone starts coming around to watch. Like, I kind of feed off that pressure, and I like, going to 3 sets and winning it and pulling it off for my team.
The Sun Devils also recently added 2 more games this weekend with number 5 Hawaii on Saturday and Pacific University on Sunday. ASU will look to have a strong weekend to improve their rankings in the Pac-12. Reporting from Tempe, Jordan Spurgeon, Cronkite Sports. 9:21 on that dial. Welcome back. This is Jordan Spurgeon, host of The Spurge, broadcasting live from the Bill Austin radio studio at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism in downtown Phoenix. Once again, if you're just tuning in, happy Monday, everybody. I know Mondays can be a drag, but hey, just make the best of what you got going on and enjoy the day. It's a great day to be alive. Anyways, that's that. So this is a Sports Talk Show. I'm here every Monday from 9 to 10 a.m. breaking down all the latest news and notes from around the world of sports. So I'm talking NBA action. We talked about the young guys in the league, right? The Trae Young, Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, Luka Doncic. All those guys, potential future MVPs of the league. But in 2020, who do I think are going to be the MVPs? Well, it comes down to 2 people. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak out of Milwaukee. And, for better or for worse, LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think there's a lot of people out there that are saying LeBron James, at least in the casual world. But in the NBA, storylines tell all. In the storyline of #WashedKing, which is all over LeBron James' Instagram, and the fact that he's leading the league in assists for the first time in his career when he finally decides to play point guard because he just decided that's what's best for the team. That's what him and Frank Vogel came up with. And they're 19-0 when he scores 30+. And they have the best record in the West when everybody was saying the Clippers are going to be the better team, at least in the regular season. But LeBron has this Lakers team in first place in the Western Conference. So let's take a look at the two and compare them before I tell you who I think is actually going to win MVP just 20 to 22 games from now. So we'll look at the Greek Freak first. So last night, he dropped 41 points and 20 rebounds against the Hornets. 41 and 20. Giannis is a freak of nature. He's averaging almost 30 points per game this year, 29.9 points per game to be exact, with 13.8 rebounds. 5.8 assists, 55% from the field, 35% from three, which is an increase for Giannis, and he's shooting more this year, and 1.1 blocks per game. He's actually in the Defensive Player of the Year nominations as well. Like, he could win Defensive Player of the Year this year. So the 2018-19 MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, is in the running to be a back-to-back MVP and win it in 2019-2020 as well. But LeBron James is having a great season as well. Last night against the Pelicans, we talked about this earlier. He dropped 35, 13 assists, and 12 rebounds. His 17th triple-double, the most in the NBA, in his 17th season in the NBA. Oh, and he's third all-time in a Lakers uniform in triple-doubles already with 21. In not even 2 full seasons yet. That's how great LeBron James is. They're 19-0 this season when he scores 30+. When he comes off the floor, they don't look the same. He is the one running the offense. Rondo and Caruso occasionally do a good enough job to run the offense when he's taking a breather for a few minutes on the bench. But that's not consistent. LeBron doesn't sit out games. Occasionally he'll say he has the flu or maybe a groin injury. We don't know if that's true or not. Maybe because he was so vocal about coming out and saying that resting for rest's sake is not cool, calling out Kawhi Leonard because fans are paying all this money. Maybe once he said that, he realized, oh, I need some days off too. Let me just say something. That could be possible, but we're not speculating about that. He's leading the league in assists with 10.6 assists this season. His 17th season in the league. He's top 5 all-time in assists, top 5 all-time in points. And he never settled on his career. I know this isn't a career award, but just kind of going off on a tangent here. He never settled as saying, I'm going to be the greatest scorer of all time. No, I'm going to be the greatest passer of all time. He's lived both worlds, and he could end up as the greatest scorer and the greatest passer of all time, assist and points-wise, at the end of his career, depending how long he plays. But this season, 25.5 points per game, second on the team because Anthony Davis is averaging over 27, but he's trying to get Anthony Davis more involved because he knows he needs Anthony Davis to win a title. He's shooting 49% from the field, and he's averaging 7.8 rebounds this season. So 25.5 points per game, 10.5 assists, almost 8 rebounds from LeBron James at 34 years old in his 17th season in the NBA. The NBA is about storylines. This is a league that's driven by players, and it's driven by storylines. There's a reason why NBA free agency on big network televisions actually probably get more ratings, just the speculation itself, than most regular season games. The trade deadline, huge for the NBA. So they're all about storylines. The NBA doesn't always pick the best player with the best season to win MVP. Heck, if they did, LeBron James would probably have 7 or 8 MVPs at this point. They go for the storyline. Look at Russell Westbrook in 2016-17 and James Harden. James Harden had the better year, more points, more assists, almost averaged a triple-double. He had 9.6 rebounds. Russ averages a triple-double for a season, which is impressive. Don't get me wrong. but it was not as impressive as what James Harden did that year. But the storyline of Russell Westbrook averaging a triple-double was greater than what James Harden's storyline was. So Russell Westbrook won the MVP. Then the next year, Russell Westbrook averages a triple-double again. James Harden, even better than the year before. And they say, all right, triple-double, not as impressive now. He already did it. It's not a story anymore. Harden, here you go. We've already robbed you of 2 other MVPs. Here you go. So that's how it works in the NBA. Storylines drive everything. People complain about the NBA Finals when it was Cavs Warriors for 4 straight years. That storyline of can LeBron take down Goliath led to the highest rated 4 finals of all time. Last year, Kawhi and the Raptors, finals weren't that great. Kevin Durant out, Klay Thompson gets hurt. Ratings plummeted. The storyline wasn't as great. Yes, Kawhi is a great player. He could be the best player in the league right now, despite the fact that he sits out games. But the storyline wasn't intriguing for the NBA audience. So the NBA does a great job letting storylines run the league, and that's why I think LeBron James will be the MVP this year. Especially because, this is the last argument here before I rest my case, he's just getting started as far as turning up the gears. He's playing a little bit more minutes per game. He's attacking the basket more. He scored 13 points in the fourth quarter last night. He's taking over the closer role instead of trying to pass it off to Anthony Davis. I know Davis didn't play last night, and that's a big reason why. But I think LeBron realizes, hey, I'm going to have to take over in the playoffs. Let's get going now. Remember last year when they were on the verge of the playoffs, he goes playoff mode activated, and he played good, and then he got hurt, and it just didn't work out. This year, he didn't have to say it, but I think his playoff mode has already been activated. They have 20 games left. They have a chance at the 1 seed. They are the 1 seed right now currently in the Western Conference, and I do think that LeBron James could do enough over the next 20 games to take home the MVP for the 2019-2020 NBA season. So let me know what you think. Follow me on Twitter at @Spurge_ to give me your thoughts on who you think could win the 2019-2020 MVP. It was Military Appreciation Day here at Farrington Stadium for the ASU Invitational. If you were sitting in these very seats, you would have witnessed a few things. The first being 2 Sun Devil wins. They beat Nebraska and Lehigh. Then, you would have noticed Kendra Hackbarth hit not 1, but 2 leadoff home runs.
But I really wasn't thinking anything special. I stuck to my plan. So the first game, I was sitting out, and I got lucky, hit the changeup. But second game, I was sitting out, and I stuck to my plan. So it's been really big with our team, is sticking to our plans and holding to them. And I think we did a better job tonight than last night. So it was good seeing the comeback.
Following that leadoff home run against Nebraska, the offense would struggle to break the game open. Nebraska scored in the 4th and 5th innings, but the Sun Devils responded in both and took the lead for good in the 5th. Cielo Meza pitched 5 innings, only giving up 2 runs, and Madison Preston came in and closed the door. Game number 2 had a different theme. In fact, the first inning sounded a lot like Take a Walk by Passion Pit. Once they did get pitches to hit, the Sun Devils would score 12 runs against 3 pitchers on 8 hits in the first inning. They would go on to win that game 16-0 over Lehigh.
It's just much better. I mean, when we're getting our walks and doing those types of things and taking free bases when we're getting them, good things are happening. And so I thought today we just did a much better job of having a plan and sticking to that plan. I think in previous game, we had a plan, and then middle of the at-bat, we're changing the plan. And I'm like, not a good idea, And so today it was really harped hard on, we watched some film together, had a good talk, and I thought all of those things kind of helped with, them executing.
The Sun Devils will look to close out the ASU Invitational on Sunday against Lehigh for their second matchup. Reporting from Tempe at Farrington Stadium, Jordan Spurgeon, Cronkite Sports.